I welcome you all to the another chapter of Science 2, that is 7th chapter, Energy Flow in an Ecosystem. Today in part 1 we will be discussing about food chain, food web, energy pyramid, tropic level and biogeochemical cycle and its types. And in part 2 we will see all the natural cycle, that is carbon, oxygen and nitrogen cycle. So how the nutrient flow and how the energy flow is there in our ecosystem, that we will study in second part of this video. Okay, now what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is the interaction between biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic meaning living organisms starting from human beings, animals to the microorganisms, and abiotic factors is air, water, soil, all these things. So it is an interaction between living organism and non-living organism in the surrounding. Now children, we have learned the classification of living organisms according to the mode of their nutrition. What is nutrition? Taking of the food and utilizing it. So whatever food we are taking it, that get digested, and energy which is produced from that food, we use to utilize it. We used to do our work with that energy. So living organisms are divided into producers that produces their own food, that is all green plants. They are autotrophs of our world. That means we all are dependent on the plants. Second is consumers, which do not produce their own food, and directly or indirectly they are dependent on the plants. And the last one is saprophytes or decomposers. When the living organism dies, so they used to feed on the living organism so that the complex molecules which is present in the living organism can be set free back into the environment. So that is the work of the decomposers. Now considering various tropic levels of ecosystem around us, we all know that producers are only the green plant, but for the consumer there are various levels. First is primary consumers, which are herbivores like grasshopper, elephant, deer. So these all animals eat the grasses or the green plants. They are directly dependent on the autotrophs. The second type or the secondary consumers are carnivores like frog, owl, fox, etc. These consumers use herbivores as their food. The third category in the consumer is apex or top consumer. That means examples are tiger and lion, and these consumers uses herbivores and carnivores also to have their food. No other animals feed on these top consumers. That means tiger and lion cannot be the prey for any other animal, but they make prey to herbivores animal like deer and also carnivores like bear or fox, like these kind of animals. Now where are we? We are mixed consumers. That means omnivores. We feed on herbivores and some animals also. So these are the different tropic level of the consumers. Okay, now let's talk about the food chain. What is food chain, students? It is the interaction between producers, consumers and decomposers. As you can see here from the diagram, there is a definite sequence in the interaction among all these living organisms. This is called the food chain. Each chain consists of 4 or 5 or more links also. An ecosystem consists of many food chains that are interconnected at various levels, and thus that food chain, that intricate food chain, will be called as food web. So this is the diagram. You all can see, like, this animal is eaten by many other animals, so making many food chain within themselves. That means in the surrounding, one organism is eaten by many other organisms. So the sequence could be many, and that network of sequence, or that net-like sequence, intricate food chain, is known as food web. As the word suggests, web, it is like a web. So it is, the sequence are more here. In food chain you will just see one sequence, okay, starting from producer and ending at the decomposers. So here you can identify, you can understand what is food chain and what makes different from food web. Okay, so you can say is a food chain is just one part of the food web, and there are many food chain in the food web. I hope you are getting it. For example, student, that insect feed upon the leaves of various plant, but some insect is the prey for different animals like frog, lizard, bird, etc. Now if you see this diagram, it has a intricate web instead of a linear sequence, that is food chain. So that food chain was a linear sequence, okay, just one way sequence, but here you can see all the sequences are interconnected with one another. So that network makes the food web. Actually, you can say that food web is present in all the surroundings that we have. In everywhere in the nature, food web is seen. Now the trophic levels among the consumers. So how the energy transfers, we will see now. Now you can understand energy is transferred starting from the producers, that are green plants. So energy is transferring from plants to herbivores and then carnivores. If I ask you, while transferring this energy, who will have the maximum amount of energy? Is it at the end of the trophic level or starting of the trophic level? Just try guessing it. I hope your answers are green plants. So the maximum amount of energy that is present at the producer level, that is all green plants. And this energy goes on decreasing at each level of energy exchange. Okay, you can see here one triangle is made. So the down more area is given for producer, then little less area for herbivores, then carnivores, and then the apex consumers. So producers are producing the energy which is transferring into the food chain, right? So while doing so, the energy transfer decreases, the energy which is going is decreasing, because if you consider 100, okay, 100 calories are going from plants to the next level. Now just 10% of that energy will go to the herbivores. What about the 90%? It will be wasted or transferred into the another form of energy. heat, or something like that. So just 10% of the energy from the plants will go to the herbivores. From this 10%, the 10th percent will go to the next level, and so on. So you can understand from this triangle that even though if humans are, or like lions and tigers, are eating the best carnivores or animals, the energy they are getting is lesser than the plants. So the vegetarian people are good here, because whatever energy they are getting from the plant is quite sufficient, is quite good for their metabolism, and they are getting it full benefits of it. Okay, so as this pyramid like structure, pyramid, like you all know that pyramid structure, so we call them as pyramid because the area becomes smaller and hence it forms a pyramid like structure. So the top consumer will receive the least amount of energy, and that is why the number of such kind of organisms are less. So whose population will be more? Of course it is producer, then the herbivores. So the apex and top consumers, the number of organism will be less. Okay, so this pattern of energy exchange in an ecosystem is called pyramid of energy. Okay, students, try guessing what will happen if the top consumers or the apex consumers are not present or their numbers are decreased. So you can comment down your answers, student. Now let me explain you about one-way transport. Now here we all know the most important source of energy of any ecosystem is sun. Okay, plant, if your answer was plant, okay, so plant is also producing their food from taking the sunlight, right? So the main source of energy in an ecosystem, I remember I told you biotic and abiotic, so it is coming from the sun. Also with the use of carbon dioxide and water, plants make their food. Now the sun energy, whichever it is being utilized by our earth or plants, is it getting back to the sun? Of course not, right? From the producers, it is passing to the consumer, and finally after the death, the decomposers decomposes it, but no amount of energy is sent back to the sun. So energy is dissipated in our surrounding in form of heat and other things. So this passage of energy from the sun into the surrounding is known as one way of transport. Okay, if it would have gone to the sun, so it would be called as cyclic transport. That is the flow of nutrient that we will talk about now. You can understand nutrition from the plants that we are getting after the death. The decomposes our body, and the nutrient is all mixed in the soil and water. So the nutrient from where we were getting from the plants, and plants were receiving from where? These all sources only, soil and water, right? So the nutrient is taken from the surrounding and given back to the surrounding after their death. So it is a flow in a cyclic way. So nutrient flow in the surrounding is cyclic, whereas the energy flow is one-way transport. I hope you are understanding. Energy starting is coming from sun, but after the death, that energy is dissipated in the surrounding. It is not going back to the sun. So it is one-way transport. What about the nutrient? The nutrient that plant absorbs, and after the death, okay, or death of the plant, or after the plant decompose also, or any animals also, the nutrient which is trapped inside their body is decomposed by the decomposers, and it is all get mixed in the soil and water and air. So the nutrient is again given back to the surrounding. So it is a cyclic way of transport. Okay. Now this cyclic flow of nutrient within an ecosystem is called biogeochemical cycle. So the nutrient which is necessary for the growth of organism is continuously transferred from abiotic to the biotic factor and then biotic to abiotic factor within an ecosystem. So there is a continuous exchange between this happening in a cyclic way. This is known as biogeochemical cycle. And this biotic and abiotic factor act as a medium for transferring of the nutrient or energy. Now the types of biogeochemical cycle, the abiotic or the non-living part of the medium, that is all gases or soil and water. So based on that, the biogeochemical cycle is divided into two, that is gaseous cycle. So as the name suggests, gaseous meaning all gases like oxygen, nitrogen, all will come. And the second one is sedimentary cycle, where it is not moving, the nutrients or the things which is having energy is stored in the soil or rocks like this. Okay, so let's talk about one by one in little detail. The first is gaseous cycle. It is the accumulation of main abiotic gaseous nutrient in the which is found in the Earth's atmosphere. The example already you all can guess by now: oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water vapor. Whereas in sedimentary cycle, the accumulation of abiotic nutrient is found in the soil and sedimentary rocks. Examples are iron, calcium, phosphorus, etc. Now out of these two cycle, which cycle will be speeder? Meaning which cycle you can tell that the exchange of things happen faster? Of course it is gaseous cycle, because gases can move. For example, CO2, that is carbon dioxide, has accumulated in the area. It can quickly dispersed with the wind or absorbed by the plants. So the gaseous cycle is more speedier. What about the sedimentary cycle? So it takes time to form and then to be used. So the balance has to be maintained by both the cycle. So the biogeochemical cycle is very important for the life to exist, right? If any unbalance or the equilibrium disturbs, the cycle will get disturbed and everybody will get affected. Now these cycles get affected also because of the climatic changes, human activities. Okay, so these effects seriously affect the speed and intensity of these cycles. Hence it is very much important that these things should be studied, and they are being studied, and more awareness are being spread through education, through different means of media and telecommunication. So we need to have a sensitive side towards the nature, that why we need to preserve and why we need to think about it. That is why this chapter is given in your book, so you can understand the seriousness of it. If any disbalance happen, the whole existence of life can be in trouble. With this, student, I'll finish part 1, the cycles, nitrogen's, carbon and oxygen cycle. We will see in the second part. So we saw today the nutrition, and then different consumers, starting from producers, then different consumers, herbivores, carnivores, apex carnivores, and omnivores like us. Then we saw food chain, food web, energy pyramid, where the energy transfers from producers to the consumers. And today you came to know that the energy which is transferring at each level decreases. So how much percentage of energy is sent in the next level? That you comment down and tell me. Okay, so we saw that pyramid of energy and all. Then we also saw the biogeochemical cycle, in which the nutrient flow we saw is cyclic. Okay, it is coming from the surrounding and the given back by to the surrounding. Also we saw the two different types of biogeochemical cycle, the gaseous and the sedimentary cycle, where the abiotic components are present in gaseous form and also in sedimentary form. And we need to have a serious a thought regarding our preserving of and safeguarding our nature and our environment. So thank you all.